friends, it's Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. So I've got a good news, bad news situation for this video. The bad news is I sat down to film my budget results video and realized that I did a really bad job of tracking my spending last week. I opened up my calendar and there's not a single sticker stuck down for my spending for the week. So that's the bad news. The good news is that means that I can sit down and film my transaction tracking process. So you guys will get a little bit of a bonus video this week. I typically do the tracking of my transactions throughout the week as I go. It's so much easier that way. I just sit down at the end of each day, I think about what I spent, I categorize each of the transactions, and I just stick the stickers down in my calendar. When I get busy or lazy or, things come up, sometimes I will do it, 1 or 2 days at a time or 2 or 3 days at a time. But this week I just really dropped the ball. So I cannot sit down and figure out whether or not I stuck to my budget for the week because I don't know what I spent. So I need to go back through my transactions over the course of this last week. I need to look at receipts. I need to look at my bank statement. I need to look at my credit card statement. And I need to figure out what I spent, categorize it, get the stickers down so I can do my budget results video. So we're going to do that together today. I'm going to give you a look at the process in which I track my spending. It's a little bit different than the way that a lot of people do it, I think. I know that I've seen a lot of videos where people track their transactions. My friend Kat Ritz here on YouTube has been filming those videos regularly on her channel. And the way that she does it and the way that I've seen it done a lot is just with a sheet of paper, and it's like a check register. You write everything down on a piece of paper, and then I've seen people use like highlighters to do a color coding system. That seems like a really cool way to do it. I have tried it that way myself in the past, but I'm a very visual person, so I like to see it all laid out on a calendar. So you are looking at the May calendar in my disc-bound planning system here. This calendar page came from an Erin Condren monthly planner, the 8.5 by 11 size. I uncoiled it and covered the coiled section with some pretty washi tape, punched through that with my arc punch in order to put that into my disc-bound system. I love the Erin Condren monthly planner, but it's a coil-bound system, and I really like to be able to take pages out, move them around, and so this allowed me to have the beautiful paper quality that I love and the layout that I love, while also being able to have the disc-bound system that I love. So it's like a win-win. I then decorated this calendar page with stickers that I made for myself. So if you're looking at these stickers and you're thinking, wow, those are really pretty or really functional, I wish I could have stickers like that. Unfortunately, you won't be able to get these exact stickers because I designed them myself and I don't sell them. Both the decorative stickers and these functional transaction stickers, but there's lots and lots of stickers similar to this available on Etsy. So if you just go on Etsy, you type in budget planner stickers, you'll be able to find, this style of sticker. Maybe not this exact pattern or this exact size or whatever, but you can find something similar. I just make them for myself because it's more affordable. It gives me a little bit of a creative outlet, and I can customize them to exactly my situation. So we are looking at the week of May 11th through the 17th. My calendar here starts on a Tuesday because that's the way that I set it up. My husband gets paid on Tuesday, so it just makes sense for our budget week to start on payday, and he gets paid every week. So a new budget week will start the following Tuesday when he gets paid again. So this is the week we're looking at. Today is actually the 18th, so I'm getting ready to, close out last week and start my new budget for the next week, but I can't do that until I track my transactions. So, like I said, I need to pull out receipts, I need to look at my transactions for the week. The way that we do our spending is one of three ways. So we have cash that I pull out of the bank every week to put into our cash envelopes and our sinking funds. So that's one way that we spend. And in that scenario, I will have paper receipts that I can look at to figure out, what my spending was. Another way that we spend money is through our checking account. So, we pay our bills directly through our checking account. If I have an online transaction that I want to use my checking account, I'll use my debit card. So looking at my bank statement will help me figure out those transactions. And then the third way that we spend money throughout the week is I have a credit card that I use. Yes, I'm on a debt-free journey, but I still use credit cards. We have chosen just one credit card that we put a large majority of our transactions on, and then we pay that credit card every week using my checking account. That way, we get to reap the rewards of using the credit card and getting those points, but we're not getting ourselves into a situation where we are carrying a balance week to week, month to month. We always pay it off at the end of every week. So the other place then that I will look for our transactions is my credit card statement. The credit card that I'm currently using to do a lot of our spending is a Citi card. It has a really great cashback reward system. So, I get like 2% back on all of my purchases. And so if we can pay a bill through that credit card, I will do that. And then I will just immediately pay that card. Works out well for me. I'm able to, for the most part, control my spending when it comes to that credit card. And so I'm not getting myself into trouble. If ever I get to a point where I start spending more on that card than what I have in my pocket, that's my red flag. I know I need to stop using that card, get it paid off, get it paid back to zero, and then I can start using it again. I have found myself in that situation a couple of times. Every once in a while, I will have a credit card relapse, if you will, but it's like I spent $50 more than what I had budgeted, or I swiped my credit card instead of my debit card, just not thinking, and it takes me like a week to scramble and get everything kind of back to zero. So if you can use credit cards responsibly and reap the rewards, that's great. If you know yourself and you know that you cannot do that, you can't trust yourself to do that, then that's fine, don't do it. But that's what works for me. So I have my stickers here. Again, I made these myself, so you cannot get them. I just printed them with my Epson printer. I used my Silhouette Portrait to cut them out, and then I just took the whole sheet and punched it so I can easily keep it in the back of my planner for easy access. And I have a color coding system. So the yellow stickers are for eating out. So I budget money for eating out every week, and whenever I spend that money, I write the transaction down on a yellow sticker. The orange stickers I'm actually not using at all right now. I was using orange to track my sinking funds, but decided I don't want to keep my sinking fund transactions here in this calendar. I keep track of those on a little index card that I keep with the actual fund in my safe, so it was redundant to be writing it down on the card and then also putting it into my calendar, and it was just kind of messing me up. So I don't use those currently. I will probably find a use for them again at some point. This dark pink color I use for unbudgeted transactions. I use the light pink for groceries. The light purple is gas transactions. The dark purple is my personal spending money. Blue, which I'm currently out of and I need to print some more, are where I write in my bills. This light green color is miscellaneous, and this gray color is extra debt payments. So the way that we're going to do this is I'm just going to start with Tuesday the 11th. I'm going to look at all of the transactions for that day, categorize them, get them written in on stickers and stuck down, and then we'll do that for every day of the week, and that'll be it. So let's get started. Okay, so the very first transaction that we have for the 11th is my groceries for the week. And actually, here's a little behind the scenes trick that I do. I typically purchase my groceries for this week on the Monday before the week even starts. So technically, I'm spending money that I don't even have, but that's the beauty of that credit card. I will use the credit card that I talked about to purchase the groceries, and then by the time my husband gets paid and the new week starts, that transaction will have cleared, and I will be able to immediately pay that on Tuesday. So I stick the sticker down on Tuesday because that's when the money actually left my account. And that also helps me to frame my budget for the week. So I've already done my grocery shopping. I sit down and I see that it was a week where we needed more groceries. I had to spend a little bit more on my groceries, and therefore I will allot a larger amount for groceries, and I know that I need to cut back in other areas. So that's just a little insider trick of the trade, behind the scenes look at how I do my budget. It works for me. That's the most important thing to remember when you're writing out a budget. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. It doesn't have to be done the same way you see other people do it. As long as it works for you and you're able to keep up with it, that's all that really matters. So for groceries for the week, I ordered my groceries. I picked them up on this Monday, but they are the groceries for this week, so it comes out of this week's budget. Hopefully that makes sense. Did I confuse you? Let me know. I can explain it better. Like I said, I do my grocery transactions in this pink color. So I'm looking back at my credit card statement here, and I see that I spent $92.60 at Walmart. So I just write in that this transaction was Walmart, and it was $92.60. And that's the first transaction for the week. So that will just get stuck down then on Tuesday. So when I sit down to write in the actual amounts on my budget sheet, I can look and see, okay, I spent $92.60 on groceries. All right, I can see that on the 12th, I went ahead and paid our bills. So the bills are actually written in already. I put all of my bills down kind of at the start of the month. For this week, I knew I had to pay Michigan Gas and DTE. Those are already in there with their amounts, but I can see that I actually paid those, so I'm just going to go ahead and check them off so that I know that those were paid. Continuing to look at my city card here. Alright, so I can see here that on May 14th, I had a miscellaneous transaction. We went to the Home Depot to pick up something that my husband needed, and so miscellaneous is written in green, so I'll just flip to my green stickers, write that it was Home Depot, and the amount that we spent was $5.27. I'm just going to round that up to $6. I always round things up, just makes it a little bit easier. And that was on the 14th, so I'll stick that down here. And then what I will typically do then is go into my wallet, because we pulled out our miscellaneous money in cash, but then we used our credit card for that. So I will go into my wallet, pull out those $6 and put those from my miscellaneous envelope into my bank envelope, so I know that that cash will then get deposited into the bank to cover that transaction. So when I pay my city card at the end of the week, I'll actually do that, once I'm done filming this video, that $6 will be in the bank to cover that transaction. I pull it out in cash because a lot of times I need extra cash on hand, but not always do I actually physically use the cash. Sometimes I'll use the card instead, and that's why I have the envelope in my wallet that says bank, so I can easily just take that cash, put it in that envelope so it can be deposited into the bank. All right, another transaction that we have cash for is eating out, but we actually used our credit card for this as well. And we, on the 14th, had Panda Express, so we spent $37.42 on Panda Express. That was our eating out for the week, so I have my yellow sticker here for eating out. I'm just gonna write Panda. Once again, I'm gonna round it up to 38. That's just how I do it. The little bit of change that's left over will just get rolled into our buffer. That's what works for me. And that'll get stuck down as well. The only other transaction that I have here on my credit card, and then of course we will move on to my cash receipts and my bank statement, is my spending money. So on the 11th, I had $26.50 that I spent for an Afterpay payment. So my spending is in this dark purple. So we're gonna round that up to $27, and that was Afterpay. And once again, that's my money is pulled out in cash. So I need to take that cash and deposit it into the bank. This particular week, we just so happened to use our credit card a lot, but oftentimes I do use cash. And so I pull it out in cash. That way I have it if I need it in cash. I know it might seem redundant to some of you to pull it out in cash and then turn around and deposit it back into the bank to make the payment, but I like to spend cash when I can. It's just not always an option. So hopefully that explains that. Like I said, I have to do what works best for me. You do what works best for you. If you find that you're using your debit card or your credit card a lot and you're constantly pulling money out of the bank just to turn around and put it back in the bank, maybe cash envelopes aren't for you. I definitely have considered taking my spending money and just leaving it in the bank and not doing a cash envelope for me, because a lot of my purchases are online. But I just haven't quite gotten there yet. Like my husband's spending, for example, he uses cash for everything. So it totally makes sense for him to have a cash envelope. Me, it's about 50-50. When I'm in person, I'm at a store, I'll use the cash. But a lot of my spending is done online. So that is something I've considered. You know, the great thing is we write out a budget every single week, so I can change my mind every week on how I want to do it. All right, so that's everything from my Citi card. Now we're going to move on to my bank account. Okay, and the first thing I see is my Walmart payment that I made. When I sat down and wrote out my budget, I told you guys that we were going to be sending $80 to our Walmart card as part of our debt payoff plan. And I did that, so my extra debt payments are done in this gray color. So we're just going to write that I sent $80 to the Walmart card. And that was done on the 11th as well. And that looks like it for my debit card. That was pretty quick and easy. Now I'm just going to go into my purse, pull out any receipts that I have for my spending that was done in cash. Let me go grab my purse. I'll be right back. Alright, so the only paper receipt that I have is a transaction from my spending money. So again, we're going to go to the dark purple stickers here. And I spent $11 grabbing myself a quick breakfast. This was different from our eating out. So when we do eating out as a family, I tend to take that out of our eating out money. But if it's just like me grabbing myself a cup of coffee or a breakfast sandwich or something, which this was, I will typically just use my spending money for that. I don't get too caught up in semantics, like technically that's eating out, so it should come out of the eating out budget. it doesn't really matter as long as I am making sure I write it down so that I know where the money came from. I don't get too caught up in whether it's an eating out transaction or a spending money transaction, just so long as it's paid for, right? So this was McDonald's, and I did this on Wednesday, or Thursday rather. So that is all of my spending, with the exception of I had an unbudgeted expense this week. It's very, very rare these days that I have an unbudgeted expense. I've gotten pretty good about, writing out my budget, sticking to it. But again, I had a little bit of a spending relapse this week, is what I like to call it. I got a Stitch Fix box and I absolutely fell in love with everything in it. I did not have the money in my sinking funds for it, but I just didn't want to let it go. So I put it on a credit card, and I know what you're thinking. That's the exact opposite of what we are trying to accomplish with our debt-free journey. We're trying to pay off credit cards. So swiping a credit card for something that I don't have the money for is the kind of behavior that I'm trying to stop. But I let myself do this. I'm just going to not take spending money for the next couple of weeks to make up for it. It was kind of like I knew I was going to get flack for it, but I just did it anyway. I didn't want to let these items go. They were so beautiful, and they were things I needed in my wardrobe. So I just let myself do it. It was a Stitch Fix transaction, and then I also purchased a desk for myself. This is something that I was going to start a sinking fund for, but then I found the desk that I wanted. It was $50 on Amazon, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. So you guys can scold me in the comments if you want, but I went ahead and used the credit card for those things. It's gonna be a total of like $200. So over the course of the next month or so, I'm just going to not give myself spending money to make up the difference. Doing something like this every once in a while is not going to completely derail my budget and my debt-free journey. If I were to find myself doing this all the time, then that's something that I know that I would have to put a stop to. Doing it, every once in a while, knowing that it's not the kind of behavior that I want to perpetuate, and knowing that it's not something that I can allow myself to do all the time, I think it'll be fine. But like I said, feel free to scold me in the comments. So I had the unbudgeted expense, I had Stitch Fix, and I had Amazon. I've actually gotten really, really good about not spending money on Amazon for the most part. I used to do it all the time, where I would just constantly be spending money on Amazon. But since we paid off our Amazon card, I have not found that to be the case. Now that that card is paid off, I don't want to put a balance back on it. So I've been really good, but like I said, I found the desk I wanted. It was on sale, so I just went ahead and did it. So for Stitch Fix, the amount was $157.41. So we're going to round up to $158. And Amazon for my desk was actually $68.88. So it was a little bit more than $50 with tax and everything. So we're going to round that up to $69. So we have a balance on a credit card then of $158 plus $69. That's $227. It's not the end of the world, you guys. It's not something I want to do all the time, but I let myself do it knowing that I was just going to cut back on my spending money over the next month or two to make up the difference. And both of these card transactions were card transactions that are not going to accumulate interest. They're interest-free. So that helped me decide that. It's going to take me a little bit longer to pay them off. but I'm not going to pay interest on them, so I'm okay with it. Just something I need to make sure I'm not doing all the time. Alright, so those transactions both happened on, I think it was Saturday. So we'll go ahead and put those in. And that is going to do it for my transaction tracking. I just want to get some no spend stickers put down, because we did have a couple of no spend days. So here in the back, I have my stickers that I made for myself. I have some no spend stickers, so I'm just going to stick one down here on Wednesday, because Wednesday was a no spend day. And Sunday was also a no spend day. Alright, so that is it for my video today. Let me know if you guys liked this, if this is something you would like to see in the future. I don't know if I'll do them every week, but that's just a little look-see at how I, track my transactions on a week when I have not stayed up to date. Like I said, I prefer to do it on a daily basis or every other day basis, but when you get behind, you gotta play catch up. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I post new budgeting and lifestyle content here on my channel every single week. I'd love to have you come back, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, friends.